Yes, I got the message now. I'll start, Prabhu. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 32. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagye Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedhasha. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagye Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedhasha. So now we can go to the synonyms. Krishna Varnam, repeating the syllables Krishna. Tvisha, with the luster. Akrishnam, not black, golden. Sa-anga, along with associates. Upa-anga, servitors. Astra, weapons. Parshadam, confidential companions. Yagye, by sacrifice. Sankirtana, prayer, consisting chiefly of congregational chanting. Yajanti, they worship. He, certainly. Sumedasha, intelligent persons. Translation. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So we'll read the purport now by His Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. This same verse is quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 3, verse 52. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada has given the following commentary on this verse. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained in this verse in his commentary on the Bhagavatam known as the Krama Sandarbha, where he says that Krishna also appears with a golden complexion. That golden Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya, who is worshipped by intelligent men in this age. That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Garga Muni, who said that although the child Krishna was blackish, he also appears in 3 other colors, red, white, and yellow. He exhibited his white and red complexions in the Satya and Treta ages respectively. He did not exhibit the remaining color, yellow gold, until he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Gaurahari. Sri Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna Varnam means Krishna's Chaitanya. Krishna Varnam and Krishna Chaitanya are equivalent. The name Krishna appeared with both Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Krishna. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he always engages in describing Krishna and thus enjoying transcendental bliss by chanting and remembering his name and form. Lord Krishna himself appears as Lord Chaitanya to preach the highest gospel. Varnayati means utters or describes. Lord Chaitanya always chants the holy name of Krishna and describes it also. And because he is Krishna himself, whoever meets him will automatically chant the holy name of Krishna, later describe it to others. He injects one with transcendental Krishna consciousness, which merges the chanter in transcendental bliss. In all respects, therefore, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. Similarly, by seeing Lord Chaitanya, one at once remembers Lord Krishna. One may therefore accept him as Vishnu Tattva. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna himself. Sangopangastra Parshadam further indicates that Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna. His body is always decorated with ornaments of sandalwood and with sandalwood paste. By his super excellent beauty, he subdues all the people of the age. In other descendants, the Lord sometimes used weapons to defeat the demoniac, but in this age, the Lord subdues them with his all-attractive figure as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that his beauty is his astra or weapon to subdue the demons. Because he is all-attractive, it is to be understood that all the demigods live with him as his companions. His acts were uncommon and his associates wonderful. When he propagated the Sankirtan movement, he attracted many great scholars and acharyas. But especially in Bengal and Orissa, Lord Chaitanya is always accompanied by his best associates like Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Shivasa. Srila Jiva Goswami cites a verse from the Vedic literature that says that there is no necessity of performing sacrificial performance or ceremonial functions. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together and chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam indicates that prominence should be given to the name Krishna. Lord Chaitanya taught Krishna consciousness and chanted the name of Krishna. Therefore, to worship Lord Chaitanya, everyone should chant the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To propagate worship in churches, temples, or mosques is not possible because people have lost interest in that. But anywhere and everywhere, people can chant Hare Krishna. Thus, worshipping Lord Chaitanya, they can perform the highest activity and fulfill the highest religious purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a famous disciple of Lord Chaitanya, said, the principle of transcendental devotional service having been lost, Sri Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya has appeared to deliver again the process of devotion. He is so kind that he is distributing love of Krishna. Everyone should be attracted more and more to his lotus feet as bees are attracted to a lotus flower. The incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also described in Sri Vishnu Sahasra Nama, which appears in chapter 189 of the Dana Dharma Parv of Mahabharata. Sri Jiva Goswami has quoted this reference as follows: Suvarna Varno Himango Varnangas Chandanan Gati. In his early pastimes, he appears as a household with a golden complexion. His limbs are beautiful, and his body, smeared with the pulp of sandalwood, seems like molten gold. He has also quoted Sannyasa Krishchame Shanto Nishta Shanti Parayana. In his later pastimes, he accepts the sannyas order, and he is equipoised and peaceful. He is the highest abode of peace and devotion, for he silences the impersonal non-devotees. Okay. So let's get started. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so this particular verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, and verse number 32. And, when I was looking for a favorite verse, almost every verse in Srimad Bhagavatam is so beautiful, really. So I could have picked also any other verse. I mean, they were really equally good. I picked this verse because I'm also happen to be reading Chaitanya Charitamrita at this time. And this verse is actually a very, very classic Gaudiya Vaishnava verse, It is a very famous verse, and many of our acharyas have actually given commentary on it, given lectures on it. That is because we also, pray to, Gauranga. And this particular verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a direct verse that directly talks about, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the translation, once more, I'll read that in this age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So this particular verse is actually, talking about the age of Kali. As we know that, in the Satya Yuga, most of the emphasis was on meditation, and people used to be spiritually advanced. And then we had the Treta Yuga, where the emphasis used to be in sacrifices and so on. And then in Dwapar Yuga, people started going towards temple worship. And Kali Yuga, people are like, we are so distracted, and the age of Kali is so fallen that really the only remedy here is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, that this is what is recommended for this age. Now it's interesting that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's not very well known sometimes, when you go outside the ISKCON community, and sometimes you'll see that people haven't even heard of him. And sometimes when they hear of him also, they think that, okay, he's a saint, but they are not really, they don't really know of his real identity, which we believe in, in ISKCON. And it is okay, but his teachings are important, what he has taught, and that is what we should give emphasis on. But it is nice to know that Chaitanya, who really Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was. And we find that in Chaitanya, in many of our scriptures, actually, the identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hidden, literally. It's not like directly revealed to everyone, like how, Lord Krishna, maybe identity was revealed, but Lord Chaitanya is not really that revealed. But in many of the scriptures, actually, they have described who he was. Like, for example, I'm just giving a few examples, like, of course, Mahabharata and, all that also, but like in Krishna Yamala Tantra, it says, Punya Kshetre Navadvipe Bhavishyami Sachi Sutta. I shall appear in the holy land of Navadvip as the son of Sachi Devi. Then from Brahma Yamala Tantra, sometimes I personally appear on the surface of the world in the garb of a devotee. Specifically, I appear as the son of Sachi in Kali Yuga to start the Sankirtan movement. So, particularly we find that it says over here in this Srimad Bhagavatam purport that, actually, let me read a little bit of the verse also here. This is about Garga Muni, actually, telling Nanda Maharaj that your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he has assumed 3 colors, white, red, and yellow. Now he has appeared as a blackish color, and so that's what he's telling. And towards the end of the purport, it is said that Prahlad Maharaj states that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Channa, that is, he's hidden actually. Although he's Krishna, he's covered in a yellow color, is what is said in the purport here. And we may also know that sometimes Krishna, he is known as Tri Yuga because of the the avatar, his avatar form in 3 yugs, and because in Kali Yuga, actually what happens in this in this Srimad Bhagavatam verse 5.18.35, it is said that, the last line of the verse is, you are known as Tri Yuga because in Kali Yuga, you appear as a concealed incarnation, and because you always possess the three pairs of opulences. So it's not necessary. And, if you read the purport of this, it said that, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an incarnation for this age of Kali, and it is confirmed in many places throughout Puranas, Mahabharata, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Upanishads. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya, it is also said, 6.99, Kali Yuga Leela Avatara na kari Bhagwan ateva tri yuga kari kahi tar nam. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not appear as a Leela avatar and in incarnation to display pastimes. He is known as Tri Yuga. Unlike other incarnations, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in this age of Kali as a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he is called concealed incarnation or Chanavatar. So it is interesting that actually Lord Chaitanya himself, whenever people would tell him that, you are the Supreme Lord, he himself would not hear of it. He would completely, he just used to change the conversation, or he would not, say anything, or and so forth. So he himself actually never claimed that. But that was because, he's concealed. He comes in the garb of a devotee. And actually, what does he propagate? What is very important to us. He propagates to us the chanting of the holy name. And that is the most beneficial thing that we have. One of the most beneficial things that we have in our movement is the chanting of the holy name. And that is what Lord Chaitanya actually brought about for us. So Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.51 says, Kaler dosha nidhi rajan astihi eko mahan guna kirtina deva krishnaya mukta sangha param vrajet. That is, the verse says, my dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So see how powerful it is, that you get freed from all your material contaminations and you get promoted straight to transcendental kingdom, just if you chant it nicely. The thing is that, you have to work at it, chanting nicely. Like for instance, like a small child, is learning to write ABCD and, making many mistakes. And then gradually they're writing ABCD properly. And then, when they grow up, they use ABCD in algebraic equations, like in high level formulas or whatever. So similarly, it takes great effort on our part, to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But our acharyas say that in the age of Kali, this is actually the only remedy. And Srila Prabhupada actually had a very interesting joke, in which he used to say that old lady is requesting her husband, chant, and the husband says, can't. He says, so there was a cartoon, and so Srila Prabhupada is saying, we are telling everyone chant, and they are saying can't. And he's saying that's the difficulty. Otherwise, we can deliver all the people to go back home to Godhead, chant and take prasadam. And I found this very true because, there was once a time I asked somebody just to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra after me, and they just refused, I mean, I was actually pretty stunned because, it doesn't take much to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, but there are people who just will refuse to chant, but this is Kali Yuga, so, it is to be expected. And in Kali Yuga, actually, people are so puffed up, they think so much, and including us. I mean, I'm not saying that we are excluded. So there was this, there's actually a joke, a man, he went to an astrologer and said, I know two women, and which one of them should I marry? who will be the lucky one? And the astrologer, he looked at the crystal ball and all kind of things. And, he says, you will marry the first one and the second one will be the lucky one. And so I was just found it so funny because, he was so puffed up, as though, marrying him was the best thing in the world. And that's the way we are in Kali Yoga. We think the world of ourselves. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually preached just the opposite, that we have to be have total humility in order to get full benefit from the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Another very beautiful thing that I found was in, Prabhupada. He composed a Barkini Bhagavad Dharma at Boston Harbor on September 18th, 1965. And when you go to the last verse of that, his composition, he says, Bhakti nahi, Veda nahi, name khub daro, Bhakti Vedanta nami be sarthak karo. He says, Bhakti nahi. Prabhupada says, Bhakti nahi. He says, I have no devotion. He says, Veda nahi. I have no knowledge. Name khub daro. But I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. That is what Prabhupada said, that one thing is there that, okay, I may not have devotion, I may not have knowledge, but what I have is I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. And that's what Lord Chaitanya propagated. And so sometimes it also happens, like there's another story of two men, they were digging the ground, and one was going on digging and there was a third man watching, just, passerby watching them. And this third man, he saw that one man is going on digging the ground with the dirt, and the second man is going on putting that dirt right back. So he was very astonished. What's the purpose? So he asked the two men, what are you doing? Like, one man is digging it, the other man is taking it out. So then the men said, yeah, we are just doing our job. Actually, the third man who has to put the seed, he's sick and he can't come today. So that's what we do. That's the way we live in our material world. We're digging the dirt, then we're similarly putting the dirt back in. But how about putting the seed, of the holy name, of Krishna consciousness? Then only, our life will be complete. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually, right from his birth only, he was encouraging Sankirtan. There's a very interesting verse. Actually, he was born during the lunar eclipse when the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting was going on. And when he was actually a small baby, it says that the Lord, in Chaitanya Adi, 14:2, that the Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy name of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the plea of his crying. And while they chanted, the Lord would smile. So what happened is that he used to keep crying. And these ladies used to keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then he would smile. And then again, he would start crying. And so the ladies, it soon became like, the ladies started clapping their hands. They started, trying to get him quiet. And all the neighboring houses would assemble. And there was this 24-hour Sankirtan going on, to make this very delightful child, stop crying. And so he says that, and this purport, it says that as long as the ladies continued to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, the Lord would not cry. And then when they stopped, he would start. So constant 24-hour Sankirtan from his birth only was going on, actually, which is very interesting. And of course, another thing is, when he first started to walk, his footprints had the specific marks of Sri Vishnu, namely the flag, thunderbolt, conch shell, disc, and fish. And there were so many really delightful pastimes. And, I'll just tell you one or two, which were kind of like miracles in some ways, in miracles that he executed. Like once what happened is that a Brahmana came to their house, and his Chaitanya and Nimai, who's like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his house. And his father, Jagannath Mishra, welcomed this Brahman. And the Brahman would cook rice and on his meditation offer it to Krishna. And then he would find that, Nimai has come and eaten up the rice. Then again, the father would say, okay, please, one more time, cook the rice again. He would cook again, the rice would be, gone. Then again, Jagannath Mishra would say, for the third time, please cook the rice again. And then again, the Brahman would meditate, offer the live rice to Krishna by meditation, And then, when everybody was asleep and everything was very quiet, then, of course, Lord Chaitanya, he revealed himself as Krishna, and, he blessed the traveler. And of course, the Brahman was so happy, and so on, And also, once even Lord Chaitanya, insisted on demanding from Hiranya and Jagdish all the offerings that they had, were, collected for worshipping Krishna on the day of Ekadashi. And I think we all probably have heard of many of us may have heard of this incident about Chand Kazi, how when Lord Chaitanya was spreading his Sankirtan movement, Chand Kazi was absolutely livid, and, he got so many complaints, and he just banned the Sankirtan movement. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tried to convince him through various arguments and logics. There's a big description, which we probably don't have a time to go through, but Lord Chaitanya was actually trying to convince him how this should be permitted. And then what happens is that in Chaitanya Charitamrita is given that the Qazi said to Lord Chaitanya once that when he went to a Hindu's house and broke the dam and forbade the performance of congregational chanting, in my dreams that very night I saw a greatly fearful lion roaring very loudly. His body was like a human being and his face was a lion. And he attacked the Qazi, and there were marks on his chest. And he said, I will bifurcate your chest, and you broke the mridangam. You have forbidden the Sankirtan movement. You shouldn't do that. And I can be really, really, I can punish you, but I'm merciful to you. And if you perform such activities again, I'm not going to be tolerant any longer. And then the Qazi got really afraid. And, he told, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, you're welcome to carry on the Sankirtan movement. And then there was no hindrance. In fact, the Qazi himself joined. So that was what it was. That was how, the Sankirtan movement, nothing could really stop it. And there was also another pastime about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was a very famous scholar of that age. At first, he did not accept Sri Chaitanya or his teachings. But later on, Sri Chaitanya convinced him, even showed him his Vishnu Roop. And he became one of the greatest Vaishnavas then, of all the time. He became one of the very great Vaishnavas. So a lot of things happened. Also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India, he cured a leper, and then he made like some trees kind of disappear, and there were other kind of a lot of miracles, but it's not really the miracles really which we have to look about, but we have to see what Lord Chaitanya wanted us to do. That is more important. And so Lord Chaitanya basically taught us that the Vedas, in summary, like the Vedas teach us 9 things. He says that Hari is one without a second. Hari is on the top. He has infinite power. Lord Krishna has infinite power. He is the ocean of sweetness. And then the soul, our soul, is a separated part. And certain souls are engrossed by Prakriti in his illusionary energy. And certain souls are released from the grasp of Prakriti. And all spiritual and material phenomena are achintya bheda prakash of Hari. That means the same as well as different. Bhakti is the only means of attaining the final objective of spiritual existence, and Krishna Prema alone is the final object of spiritual existence. So these are some of the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And, I was reading a book by Bhaktivedanta. Actually, the book is a very slim book. It's this book, actually. It's called Sri Chaitanya, His Life and Precepts by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And very nice book, actually. And, in that he summarized it. I'm just going to read, like, we don't have time, so I'm just going to read 4 or 5 sentences. What Bhakti Vinod Thakur is telling us: give up shackles of material life slowly. Cultivate your spiritual consciousness internally, he says, internally. Give up prejudices that you have acquired from the so-called rational thinkers who deny the existence of spirit. Be humble and learn to respect those who work towards spiritual attainments. Do this with your heart, mind, and strength in the company of Vaishnavas alone, and you will see Krishna in no time. That's what he's saying. And of course, there's a lot more he's saying. We probably don't have time. And then, of course, he concludes that Krishna is eternally, spiritually true, reflected in the human soul, relieved of all attachment to dull matter, and the subject of love which proceeds from the soul. Accept him as such, and you will see it with your soul's eyes. Very beautiful. So, so coming back to this particular verse, of course, the Lord is, this verse is actually talking about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, specifically in the age of Kali. Of course, this particular verse is talking about the congregational chanting, specifically with congregational chanting. But of course, we know that there are several other verses which are just talking about the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting in general also. But this particular verse is, because it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu related, it's talking about specifically the congregational chanting, of the Mahamantra, and then also giving an identity or to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that his complexion is not blackish, he's Krishna, and he's accompanied by all his associates. So the important thing for us, of course, is to teach the love of Krishna from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and follow his directions. And bhakti is actually a very slow process. It's not that overnight you become a big bhakt. It's not very easy at times, but it requires a just constant perseverance. Actually, it's not that overnight you become a great devotee, as I said. So it takes time and it takes effort, but if we follow and we continue to do in spite of obstacles or whatever else we face, then our acharyas are assuring us that we can reach the ultimate goal, that is love of pure love of Krishna. So that's all I have for today. Any questions or any comments or anything from anyone?
Hare Krishna, Saragrahi Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Thank you. That was a wonderful talk. Brilliant. And you had the enthusiasm to go on. I'm sure if you are given a day, you would fill it with Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
That's a very beautiful, selecting that verse. It's a very appropriate, very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandhya Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Thank you, Mataji, for elaborating the Lord Chaitanya has the Supreme Lord incarnation. So the main purpose is, even in the scriptures as they started with the 4 yugas and 4 different activities, how Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord who came to spearhead expand that congregational chanting. So to that point, like so.
Yes. It's so inspirational. He's such an inspiration, Prabhu. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, those things are given in the scriptures, but Lord Chaitanya is the one. Yeah. This verse is talking about to see, Yoga Dharma, right? He is establishing it.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Okay. Hare Krishna, Saragrahi Mataji. This is Chintamani. We are reading Chaitanya Charitamrita together, and so you bringing up all of these, so many references and so many points about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's really, really wonderful. I think, nice research that you've done to pick up all the different references of how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, is the Lord himself, and how he has he's propagating. He has come as a devotee to propagate the Harinam Sankirtan. Very nice references, nice research.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you for reading with me too. So yeah, it's so blissful. Yeah, his pastimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your comment, Mataji. Anybody else? Okay. If not, we'll conclude. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you for attending, everyone.